All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Keplerth. At least I'm assuming this is how it's pronounced. Once
I
again,
think it's Keplerth because it's presumably the name of the planet, and you get a lore drop that says that it was found with the Kepler telescope.
that makes sense. I just see that name and I think Klingon.
Yeah, no, it sounds Klingon or sound effecty.
Yeah. Anyway, Keplerth. Welcome to Keplerth. Try to survive on a hostile alien planet in this 2D sandbox RPG where you can choose to live alone or fight side by side with your friends in the online multiplayer mode. Survive, build, farm, fight, and explore your way to victory in this open world adventure. I will preface this right now and say that no co-op was tested or played with or anything because we were only gifted one copy.
And I didn't feel like trying to do it with someone else. I mean, I could have, but...
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so this was given to Galix for review, so over to him.
So I didn't get that far in this game, but that's because this is a game... This is like... It's kind of like you got a 2D Minecraft or a top-down Terraria. With the added sort of, it's very upfront about going from Stone Age with some medieval stuff up to high tech. There is a very high tech framing device where you're a space colonist and like practically everybody else on you wake up in a suspended animation lab as the only person there who's not a corpse in a tube. There's one robot around who tells you that some survivor lady got kidnapped and you need to help him. So you go into a trans-dimensional portal to talk to an orc who says, yeah, do that. And then you are left on your own, quite possibly already naked and with no ability to do anything other than like make stone tools. But you can progress. You have to gather materials. It gives you a fairly regular list of new goals in terms of like, oh, hey, it would probably be good if you built this, and you get achievements for doing them, but most of them aren't a big deal. You can build. You can break stuff and collect the materials. You can build buildings. You will eventually find other settlements with NPCs that you can trade with, and you can buy animals to raise and breed by putting them in an enclosure with food in troughs. You can eventually, though I did not get this far, tame animals to work with you. And meanwhile, you're dealing with zombie attacks on the surface. And then after you defeat one of the zombie towns, of which there are a ton of them, you can unlock the ability to go to underground zones, which then you go further down as you level up further. And I just started going into the first underground zones, which have goblins as enemies. There's a lot of crafting, and you have to get the stuff you craft either from breaking things or killing things or finding boxes around. There are lore boxes. So this game, even though I don't like the control setup very much, I instinctively just did on keyboard and mouse, which is probably the best because it has the 10 item bar, which I think you can select between with triggers or something on controller, but I felt like the precision for placing would be better. Some of the placing controls are a little awkward about when you get in your menu. and you have to close it because something walks up and attacks you or whatever, but I don't know if there's a particularly good way around this. There are a few awkward language choices in some of the suggestions and descriptions of things happening. I don't know. Also, it's funny because the important characters have pretty cool looking dialogue portraits that are like busts or more. But the actual active sprites are super chibi, so that's an interesting diversion. You also occasionally, when you're harvesting things, you will get a deformed version of the normal thing, and you can use those to unlock gene things that you install in yourself to power you up. Either they can make you better at gathering things quickly, or make your attacking do more damage, or make your pets survive more, but I didn't use that one because I didn't get far enough to get pets. Honestly, even for I only played this game for about 5 or 6 hours. And I did not. I used a wiki a little bit, and I did not get to the part that I could find to actually tame animals. I did buy a chicken and get it to lay eggs and more chickens. But I didn't get a battle friend. I just have a chicken in a fenced-in area. And yeah, I assume you keep fighting deeper and unlocking more lore things. There are also, as you're exploring across the overworld, which is, I think every level is actually procedurally generated. You get a world seed when you create your world, and there is a built-in mechanism for bringing your character and stuff to other people's worlds or other worlds if you want to, called a deserted island. When you find other towns, or in the orc who is trying to build a spaceship to get you off the planet and rescue the girl. Well, the girl was helping him get off the planet, so now you're doing that. All of the shops have random inventory. I didn't try to kill any NPCs, so I don't know if they aggro at you, although I did accidentally kill one because they were being attacked by a wolf. And I was using a weapon that was hitting both of them. So I did not I did not have enough time to play to find out if they ever respawn, or if their shop is just never going to have its inventory change or whatever. You can't just take the stuff for free after the shopkeeper is dead, though. You still have to purchase it. The music is pretty low-key mostly. You get monster invasions unless you turn that off, which is somewhat convenient because it makes them come to you, but also can be frustrating if you don't want to fight them. But once you've built a pickaxe, you can use the pickaxe to destroy the spawning things that form, so it's manageable. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of it is building crafting devices that you need to build the crafting devices that you need to do things, and then taking materials and then refining them into materials that you need to actually create things. A lot of multi-step creation. And some stuff is harder to find than you'd think it was. Like leather is not that numerous. The easiest way to do it is make it out of monster hide that drops off of a lot of different kinds of monsters, but you need 5 monster leather to make 1 leather, and then you need like 5 leather to make a leather armor, and 1 to make gloves and boots. I guess I've been kind of rambling. Do you guys have I made any questions that you guys wanted to, or have I raised anything that you guys have questions about?
I think I'm good.
No.
There are a couple of enemies in the game, or a couple of items in the game that if you defeat an enemy, that drop when you defeat an enemy, that you can then use to summon a mini boss. And I did one of those by accident, but luckily it was right near my spawn zone. So I was able to kill the mini boss over the course of dying about 15 times. It was actually kind of interesting thing. It was a jelly thing that is ghostly. The enemy you got the summoning item from was a gel thing, and then the boss was a ghostly thing that summons gels that shoot at you and stuff. But what you had to do is hit the gel balls at the ghostly boss, and that makes it solid enough to hit for a while. So between that and the mercy invincibility on respawn, I was able to take care of that eventually. Again, there are furniture that let you display stuff that is for sale, which presumably works. I don't know if that works with NPCs at all, but presumably it's designed for if you're playing in multiplayer, which would also make it a lot easier to divide efforts and get an actual settlement built up. You start out in a wrecked lab, and I was pretty much building. I built a small stone building next to it, and that's about as far as I had gotten. With a bed and most of my crafting stations, just right adjacent to the lab, because the robot who gives you your quest also has the ability to repair tools that are about to break, and when it repairs them, they come out slightly better than new. But I was still mostly on copper tier weapons and stone tier tools. I did get a couple of copper tools. I got a copper scythe, which is nice because it lets you harvest vegetables without needing to replant them afterwards. Like they'll just regrow by themselves for things like wheat and cabbage, and that's nice. Or not cabbage, lettuce. I mean, obviously, I was fairly interested in the game, but it's also a good case in why I don't play Minecraft or those things, because I'm not good at time management, and there's always more you can do. So and that means that I also can't compare it directly against Minecraft and Terraria from played experience, just from having watched other people play those. To which I'm not going to say it's better, but it's a little bit more directed in terms of overall goals, though there's not actually any pressure to do those. If you want to be able to play as like an orc or an elf or a barbarian or something, I don't think you can do that in the other ones. And when you do that, it actually does affect your base functionality. I made a human because humans gather resources and like picking fruit from a tree and eat food, I think twice as fast as default. Whereas, for example, some of the other species you can play as do more damage or are faster or are better shots. So that could be useful if that's what you want to do. Yeah, aside from the only other things I would take an issue with maybe is that some of the creation is a little bit too multi-step, and I don't know if there's a way to expand your inventory between the base size, but when you're picking up a bunch of stuff as you go across the world, you will occasionally just end up with a full inventory. Luckily, there are also a number of teleporters across the world for you to randomly find. So as long as you don't move your base to somewhere that's far away from any of those, because as with Minecraft, you respawn in the last bed you used. You should be able to teleport back to the base easily. Also, I noticed that unlike Minecraft, there is no option to sleep through the night, which is honestly I would have liked to do, because sometimes exploring at night sucks because there are zombies and bears and you can't hold a torch and a weapon at the same time. So yeah, I think that's about where I am. I enjoyed it pretty well. If you're into that kind of thing, if nothing that I've said turns you off, I think it's probably a solid experience. Any other questions, and/or what are we looking at price-wise?
I think I'm good.
Let me see. So the price clocks in at $14.99.
That's probably not bad if you really want to experience an exploring game where you would go through the whole thing eventually and then possibly also do another world and maybe play cooperatively with friends. I definitely think that this is a game, as long as the online co-op works well, which I can't verify, where cooperative building would come in handy. Like where you would like work together on a bigger structure or settlement. There's also a thing where I kept doing this wrong, but this might be from my experience. When you want to use an item in your inventory, you kind of have to right-click it and then left-click on the map where you want to use it or do it. For like building things and for drinking things, you have to right-click on it in your inventory. If you left-click on it in your inventory, that's what picks up the item. And then if you like click on the field, you will just drop your stack of wall blocks or copper scythe or whatever on the map and have to go pick it up. Also, a couple of times I accidentally got stuck on blocks by building while I was standing too close to them or overlapping with them. But in those situations, I was always able to get myself unstuck by breaking those blocks and then just putting them back. So yeah, $15 is probably fine. You could get a lot of time out of this.
Okay.
The thing that is gated by the actual bosses is like levels of technology thing. Like for beating the zombie making fungus thing, I unlocked the chemistry table, and then the next boss is the goblin, and that unlocks the goblin crafting table, which I know from the wiki includes the ability to create bone cages that you can use to capture wild animals. So as you progress, you will have more things you can interact with. I think that's about what I got.
All right. So that'll about do it for Keplerth here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as we'll be reviewing Martian Law.